Hello everybody, Roger here, and welcome to my channel, Roger's Reads. So today I'm going to do a book review of a book I read recently, and the book is called The Book of Dust, the Belle Sauvage. This is the first book in a new trilogy by Pullman. It's actually the prequel to his Dark Materials series, which included The Golden Compass, The Subtle Knife, and The Amber Spyglass, I believe. So I read those books many years ago, and to be truthful, I remember almost nothing about them. I do remember that I really liked them, however. And from what I gather, the main character in his Dark Materials series is Lyra. Well, in this book, The Belle Sauvage, Lyra is just the baby. So this is actually a prequel to his Dark Materials series. So the story follows 11-year-old Malcolm Polstead, who helps out at the Trout, the inn that is owned by his parents. So Malcolm and his demon Astra his animal demon Astra, tend to hear all of the local gossip, including scandals and intrigue, including news about the oppressive religious authority, which has, as of late, to become more powerful and perhaps more deadly. A creepy Hitler youth-like organization called the League of St. Alexander that enlists children to spy on their parents and teachers begins to take hold in the school. And as it becomes stronger and more powerful, teachers begin to disappear along with some of the students' parents. So one day, Malcolm comes across a strange message in an acorn and eventually discovers the person to whom the message was intended. So this person, who we can think of as a kind of a spy, asks Malcolm to keep his eyes and ears open and to report anything of interest to her. In other words, she enlists young Malcolm as a spy. So Malcolm also spends a good amount of his time running errands for the nuns who live directly across the river. It's at the convent there that Malcolm first encounters the baby Lyra, who has been given to the nuns for safekeeping. There's actually an entire scandal that goes along with Lyra's birth, which I'm not going to tell you. You have to read the book to find out. So anyway, Malcolm is immediately taken by Lyra and becomes increasingly attached to the infant as the days progress. But as he soon learns, there are dark forces afoot, and they seem to be centered on the baby. One of these include the CCD, which is a branch of the Magisterium. And the Magisterium is an oppressive religious sect vying to become the dominant religion, which doesn't seem to have any problems with making people disappear. Another one of these dark forces includes villainous scientists who have their own agenda in regards to Lyra, which we are not yet privy to. I found it interesting that we had both villains and heroes on both the religious side and the secular side. So in this way, neither of them was singled out in the book. So what follows then is a harrowing and gripping adventure as Malcolm and Alice, which is a scullery maid who helps out at the end, along with their daemons, try to stay one step ahead of their enemies and keep the baby infant Lyra safe, especially from the malevolent scientist named Gerard Bunville and his evil little hyena demon. Now, without giving too much away, let me say that a good part of this book takes place in Malcolm's trusty canoe, which he had named La Belle Sauvage, hence the title of this volume. This is actually, I think the name of the series is called The Book of Dust, and this particular volume is called The Belle Sauvage. So in this way, this book is part spy novel, part adventure novel, part coming-of-age story, and it all revolves around 2 children and 1 infant, all of which are in true peril, in true danger. Okay, so what I loved about this. Now, demons, and that's spelled Daemons, are one of the coolest parts of Philip Pullman's novels. We had them in the his Dark Materials series as well. So a demon is a kind of a supernatural creature, like part of your soul, that appears as talking animals, and they accompany you wherever you go. In fact, if you wander too far away from your demon, it results in severe physical discomfort and pain. And I'm not sure if it would kill you if you move away too much, but I think that it might. So in this world, Philip Pullman's world, everybody has a demon. But children's demons can shapeshift into other animals just like that at the drop of a hat. So for instance, Malcolm's demon, Astra, switches into a cat, a bird, a moth, I think a mouse, and an owl, just to name a few. I kind of thought of demons as an extension or even perhaps part of a person's soul. It's also interesting to note that if a person is asleep or unconscious, so is their demon. Now, once people become adult, the demon settles down into a more permanent shape, which then is a reflection of the individual's personality. Like, for instance, one of the evil characters in the book has a three-legged hyena as his demon. Now, the primary characters of Alice, Malcolm, and Lyra are young enough in the book so that their demons constantly change form, which made the story extra interesting. Now, as for the villain, I thought Bonneville was the ultimate terrifying villain. I mean, he was absolutely chilling. The kind of evil mastermind that gives little kids nightmares, especially as he, along with his equally frightening three-legged hyena, relentlessly pursue Malcolm, Alice, and Lyra over the course of several days. And I thought that he was perfect for this story. Now, I also felt that Malcolm was a marvelous protagonist as well. He was brave, protective, loyal, resourceful, and wise beyond his years. Though only a child himself, I was especially impressed with his overpowering need and instincts to put Lyra above everything else and do whatever was necessary to ensure her safety. You know, it's funny, after one especially harrowing part of the book, I recall Malcolm saying something like, "I am way too young to be going through all this." And I have to agree. But he was definitely up to the task, and he was always ready to fiercely protect the little baby. This 11-year-old boy ended up being basically a larger-than-life character in the book. I also really liked the theme of conflict between the oppressive religious authority and the basic right of human freedom, a recurrent theme, if I'm not mistaken, in other Pullman novels. I thought this conflict was well presented in the book, and I liked the fact that Pullman presented both the good and the evil sides of it. Now on to what I didn't like about the book. Now, the first part of the novel consisted of heavy world building and backstory, so the novel did seem to go kind of slow at the get-go. But once the setting is laid out, then things really begin to take off as we move from one nail-biting experience to the next. Another thing I didn't care for was the abrupt ending. Now, you know, I'm not a fan of cliffhangers, and this book did kind of end on one. Not terribly so, but about enough for me to find it annoying. For instance, we really don't find out the reason that everyone was after the child. All we know is it has something to do with this elusive dust. The ending scene to me felt more like a temporary reprieve rather than the conclusion of a book. So in this way, it didn't feel all that satisfying to me. Now, this isn't really in regards to the story, but I also did not like the decal edges of the book. I don't know how well you can see that here. These are often referred to as uncut or untrimmed edges. So though this is a conscious choice made by publishers. I'm not really a fan. It almost feels as though the printer has done a sloppy job with the book. Every now and then you get books in this format, and I don't know, perhaps publishers feel it adds extra feeling of antiqueness or age to the book. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm not really a fan. Though many people refer to this as a children's book, I'm not sure that I would agree with that. There are some quite graphic depictions of violence and some very adult themes in the book, such as murder, sex, or rape, and child molestation. So I did see it listed online as a children's book, but I think it would be better suited for more mature young adults rather than kids. So final verdict. I feel that The Book of Dust, La Belle Sauvage, is a remarkable addition to his Dark Materials series, and I look forward to seeing where this series is going to go in the future. This is one of those books that had my heart racing on more than one occasion, and I really couldn't put it down. I finished it in only a couple of sessions. Pullman's storytelling ability is unsurpassed in my opinion, and I really found this a thrilling ride. I love the strong world building, the character development, and I felt that the story really came to life for me with vibrant characters and exciting adventures, as well as a beautiful narrative. Well written, with strong characters and a marvelous sense of place. La Belle Sauvage is a captivating story of good and evil that will linger long after the last word is read. Now, I will say that this book has it all. It has spies, devastating floods of biblical proportions, life and death boat races, gentle nuns, intolerant and Inquisition-like religious organizations, brave heroes and heroines fighting for freedom and liberty, brave heroes and heroines fighting for their lives. There were creepy mausoleums, nefarious villains, mad scientists. There were even witches and fairies. Now, personally, I ended up loving this book in spite of the rather abrupt ending, and we'll definitely be reading the next one in the series. I just hope we don't have to wait too long for it. So I ended up giving this book 4 stars, and I really did love this story. So that is it for The Book of Dust, La Belle Sauvage. I hope you enjoyed this little mini review of it. And as always, I want to thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your support. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks, and bye-bye.